Alright. Now, we did get the offices to zone in, and that just pretty much did in what demand there was. Oh, that was actually shopping that went down. So we still have demand for jobs. So we'll just zone a little bit more here. And we have more residential to zone, so...
Meteorologists are issuing a thunderstorm warning for the coming days. Citizens are advised to stay indoors.
Alright, well, we're not going to evacuate because of a thunderstorm. We could institute that lightning rod policy that they suggested. We'll take a look at that here in a second. That was under here. And... okay, what do we got? There are emergency on areas with this policy on. The services will always use helicopters instead of ground vehicles. Lightning rods. Okay. Request tallest buildings to install lightning rods on their roofs to lower the likelihood of them catching fire during a thunderstorm. This is going to cost 1.6 cents per building. Let's see how much this dips down our profit. So we're at 5,400. I'm going to go ahead and institute that. And hello, if you're joining the stream, we're playing around with the new Disaster DLC, and we've already had a couple hit. We just had a tornado, and right now the active one is a thunderstorm, but I think it has mostly left the area. But we'll continue to monitor it. Uh-oh. Huh. Alright, it's saying for me to evacuate, even though I don't think the disaster is even here, really. Because when I was on the map, it was like not even within the controlled part of my city. But it's telling me to evacuate. I did evacuate when the tornado came. I'm going to ignore it and see what happens. Ooh. Hello. I think we have a forest fire here. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the helicopters yet to put out this fire, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here. I mean, we do have traditional fire services right nearby that will help put out the buildings, but I don't think there's anything we can do about the forest fires until we get those helicopters. Unfortunately, the helicopters are really darn expensive. All right. Another special thing about this city is that every intersection is a roundabout. This is a city I designed before the DLC hit. To add a little extra challenge and flair to the city. Alright. Again, these buildings are being set on fire because of the forest fire, which I think has burned itself out almost. Yeah, there it goes. So it'd be nice to get the helicopters here as soon as possible, because I see more forest fires over here, probably due to that lightning storm. Alright, well, while that's going on, let's go ahead and zone more offices, because there's nothing like a disaster and burning buildings that says, how about some business? Maybe these are insurance offices. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but forest fires are definitely going to be a problem until we have ways of dealing with it. So I'm going to try and save my money. Now, it doesn't seem like the institution of these lightning rods has really caused costs to go up all that much. We also need more shelters, but I think I'd like to deal with the forest fires first because that's an obvious problem. At this moment, it looks like the trees are kind of burning themselves out. All right. Let me just remind myself how much the helicopters cost. 90,000, very expensive. Just take a look at our other services, make sure we're doing okay there. Education. Our high schools are starting to get a little overwhelmed capacity-wise. I might have to build more here, as we do have a bunch of people moving into this neighborhood. And elementary schools, I mean, we have an elementary school in the area, but again, capacity is really filling up here. Universities were more than good here, but I think it's time maybe to get another high school in here. So, as far as high schools are concerned, let us, well, again, oh, we have a new building here too. What is this? Ooh, a medical helicopter. So we have 2 different helicopters. All right. In any case, let's go ahead and buy the fire helicopter. And I had a nice place for it over here, I think, that I would like to put it. I will put it right in there. It'd also be nice to get more shelters as well. Now, is there a new... There's not really any... Oh, there is a police helicopter as well. So we've got helicopters for a lot of services. No garbage helicopters, unfortunately. These are new too. Well, let me take a look at these things. I do not remember this stuff. So we've got tank reservoir. The tank reservoir is a water reservoir. If the city pumps more water than it needs, the excess is stored in the tanks. If a pump fails or the need of water rises, the tanks give out water. The reservoir automatically supplies the city if the water need is greater than production. Must be connected to water pipes. So these are the kind of things that you can help with water shortages. Okay, and then what do we have here? The pumping service has a fleet of vacuum trucks that are sent out when there are flooded buildings in the city. The trucks travel as close to the location as they can, and upon encountering water, fill their tanks with it. The collected water is released into the sewer system at the pumping service depot. Alright, that's cool. And what else we got? Freshwater outlet. The freshwater outlet lets out any excess water produced by the city. It can be freely placed on dry land, allowing the creation of lakes and ponds. Keep in mind that water evaporates and that the outlet can be turned on and off to help with possible flooding if the city produces less water or the same amount it consumes. Freshwater outlet won't pump out any water. Okay, so it's part of the drain capacity, I see. Or is that a new metric? It's not sewage. Alright, well, there's definitely a lot of new things. I kind of like this, the tank reservoir, because if something were to happen to our water, that would allow us to still have water in the city. Alright, well, there's a lot of cool things that they added in this game. For sure, to help you keep your city running when disasters strike. Alright, it looks like the offices came in pretty quickly, so I'm probably going to want to stay on top of that and keep zoning places for them. And hopefully we'll deal with the need here that people are looking for. Because it seems like traditional industry, they're not really interested. Because we've had a lot of shortage of labor. Which caused me to have to dezone a lot of stuff. So I think mostly people are looking for office jobs at the moment. Which I'm more than happy to give them. More people employed means more people want to move in. Unfortunately for them, that means more people die when I fail to save them. When a disaster comes. Alright, well. Let's put in this last bit of zoning here. Alright. So we're at 23,000. What's our next milestone? Our next milestone is 32,000. And we'll get a harbor and a cargo harbor. And we'll have access to ships. Now, I don't know if this city actually has... Well, it looks like we have a route over here maybe that we can utilize. Alright. Well, saved up some money. We can build a new high school here. Because capacity is starting to look bad. If I were to put a high school in, I think I'd put it in over here somewhere. Because we already have one over there. That looks like a good location for it. I also need to come in and put parks in this area. It's probably pretty crummy, because this is a newer neighborhood, and it's been I haven't really done anything to it yet. So what do we have here? Anything new or interesting? Not that I can see. Small park. That would cover a lot of the area. Small playground. Park with trees. Alright, well, we'll go with park with trees. And I'll stick it over here. That way we can... Yeah, that's fine, I guess. That'll cover most of the area. Make people happy. We also probably need a park over here somewhere. We'll do a small playground over here. We'll stick it maybe across the street so we don't have too much wasted coverage. That looks good to me. All right. And demand for work continues to go up here. What's going on here? Oh, there's a big rock. There we go. But I definitely feel like the game's become much more chill with this station. But we've been listening to that for a while. Let's listen to the other new station. At least I think we're going to be listening to it. Sounds awfully quiet. All right. Well, let's take a look at the traffic situation, as well as the electricity situation. So, I believe this was kind of a problem area before, and it still looks like one, although not too bad. One thing I want to take a look at over here, though, is it's been a while since I've upgraded the subway network over here. Probably a good time to do that. Another thing I need to think about is some of these new buildings, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at the emergency services. Still need shelters, in my opinion. I don't really know if this evacuation route really did much. But I would like to put a shelter to kind of cover some areas over here. And it looks like if I put one here, it will cover a lot of this city over here. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of starting to wonder. I don't know if it gave me a coverage area over here before, but I'm starting to wonder if that is really even that great of a place for that particular shelter, because it doesn't put it anywhere near residential areas for the most part. It puts it near industry. So I'm thinking about actually moving it to put it in a place where it would be more useful. Like, for instance, if I place this somewhere that it will allow me to place it, I probably already have some buildings over here, which is why we're having the problem. Like right here. When I zoom out, we can see that the area it covers is pretty huge. Much bigger than what the other shelter is covering. So let's say we do that. We slap this down right there. And then I'm going to move the other shelter in a place where it actually is going to have more coverage for me. So let us grab this guy, cancel whatever evacuation route it has. We'll relocate it. And I'll put it somewhere over here instead, kind of like in the middle of the residential area. So we're servicing more of that. Alternatively, I could put it over here, and that would also address maybe some of the newer neighborhood. Like this right here should probably hit most of the that's actually even probably the best, hitting most of these residential neighborhoods. The cost to relocate, though, is pretty high. This sounds like Europa Universalis music. That's kind of funny. Alright. Alright, I still think we probably need more shelter coverage, but we'll work on that as time goes on. We still have a lot of demand for jobs here, so I was planning on making this an office area anyway. I'm hoping the power will transfer once we have stuff moved in there. You know what? We're probably also going to need shopping, though. So this might be a good place to put some shopping. And then I can kind of shelter the residential areas from the noise with the offices. This one might be a little bit trickier to do that with. But let's do some high density here. And then actually, darn it. I'm trying to rethink this. So we'll do high density there, and we'll do high density. I'm trying to shelter the residential areas, the planned residential areas. So we'll do offices here. And I might do some shopping here, as long as the noise is far enough away. Yeah, I think we can kind of make sure that the noise is away from the residential zones. And kind of box it in with the offices, because the offices don't care as much about noise. And we'll also be addressing the shopping need here. That's probably good enough there, and then we'll switch to offices once I feel like the power is in there. Man, the demand for jobs is just through the roof right now. All right, I'll put a little bit of that here and here. We've got stuff moving in here, so we'll add in offices there. Well, I added in this brand new neighborhood and made it a lot of offices, but we ran out of space pretty quickly here. Now, as far as how I'm going to zone this residential area, I could do a number of ways. I could do low density on the outer ring and then high density in the center. Or I could mix it up and do the reverse. I could do high density on the outer ring and low density in the inner part. I think high density in the center makes more sense to me anyway. So let's do that. I'm going to do high density in the middle. And kind of near where the offices are. Like that. We'll do something similar over here. So nearby where the offices are and the central area will be high density. Ooh, we didn't zone that. And then I'll do low density around the outer bit. But we don't have that much demand for residential right now. So I'm not sure how much of this zoned area is actually going to be used. I could put offices in here. But I think I'd like to keep it residential. Alright, well I don't see a reason why not to zone this stuff residential. If nobody moves in, nobody moves in. It's not the end of the world. All right. Been pretty quiet since that initial disaster of a tornado. There also was some flooding that happened. One of the bridges was being flooded over here. And since then it's been fine over here. All right, we have a lot of desire for jobs. And I have land that I could zone for farms. The main reason I've been avoiding it, though, is because of the lack of labor that oftentimes crops up. But let's see if we put a little bit of farms in here. If we get... I'll take it a little bit at a time. Ooh, we have a bunch of money, and I want to spend that money on a couple things. So... I do not remember everything that I wanted to do. I think one of the objectives was to get education under control. I think I've done that. Except for our new neighborhoods, there's going to be a little lack of that there. So let's start at the bottom, elementary school. We're going to have absolutely none in there. So I'll stick one right here. That'll only cover half of what we need. So I'm going to probably need to stick another one over here. So I'll put it right in there. So there are two elementary schools. High schools, we technically have coverage here. It's not great coverage, but I might want to think about putting in another high school at some point. And I could put it over here somewhere. Universities, we should be more or less fine, although we don't get the greatest coverage over here. I mean, I would have to knock out some of these offices to get it here, but that should cover the area pretty well. So I'll put it right in here. Alright, well that takes care of education needs. Now we're going to need law enforcement and the like. So, what I might do here is I might grab a bigger police headquarters. Might be overdoing it though. Let's just see. If I put a police station here, and more or less take care of the neighborhood. Kind of a smallish neighborhood, so we probably don't need to get too carried away. So I'm going to put a police headquarters there. And then... oh, crap. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Let's relocate this. Let me... I guess I'll be fine there. And then, fire. We'll do a small firehouse. And we'll put it across the street. Right there. Okay, so we've got a firehouse. And police headquarters. That should take care of that. Now, health over here. We're really not looking good. We're going to need a clinic of some kind. And I might put that right next to the fire to take care of that. Now, I am knocking out a number of my offices here, but not much else I can do. And crematorium. We do not have very good coverage in some of these newer neighborhoods, too. So, and that police headquarters is just put in such a way, kind of pisses me off. I think if I move it just slightly here, I might be able to get the cremation place in. Let's move it there. And then let's see about the crematorium. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Alright. Alright, I'll move it over a little bit further. This way we know for sure it's going to work. And then crematorium right in next door. It's always good to have a crematorium right next to your medical clinic. It makes everybody feel good about their chances. We do eventually need a medical helicopter. That would be very nice. We've got this neighborhood set up. And I think at this point we're just going to wait and save money so we can start getting some of these emergency services in.
Thanks for listening to the classics. Your home for the best works of great masters.
Now I'm more than likely going to stick the medical helicopter nearby the hospital just because I think thematically that makes sense to do so. Although I do have more than one hospital. As a matter of fact, we can check that out if we want. Healthcare. So we have another hospital over here. So we could stick the helicopter next to that if we wanted to. Alright, we have enough for some helicopters here. Now, I think, don't I already have a fire helicopter thingy? Let's see, medical helicopter. What kind of space we're talking about here? Pretty big. So if I put it over here, it would knock out a lot. Not unless I put it like way over here. And we would have to put it across the street, I think, over here, but it's doable. As long as we can find space for it, which unfortunately, because of the curvature of the road, that is not going to happen. So, I guess we're not going to be doing the thematic thing that I wanted to do. Not unless we put it, like, over here somewhere. I mean, it's a decent distance away, but you could argue it's close enough to the hospital. Or I could put it next door to the university. And knock out... what are we knocking out? Residential.